Camera is on. Live stream to Instagram is up. Ooh, okay. Let me make sure that my notifications are good here on Facebook, and then I'll be right with you guys. And I will be fixing this problem with Instagram very soon. So if you're wondering, like, Instagram is up. All right, and I am live here. My connection's here. Okay, perfect. All right. Good night to everyone. This is Dr. Samuel Lombardo, the Executive Director, CEO, and agent of SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. I hope everyone had a great day today. I sure did. It was very relaxing, actually. Gotten a lot done business-wise as well. I'm going to share again to the Instagram the links that you need for the affiliate program and to our contest if you want to sign up. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to be having mass emails going out, everyone, for especially for mother agencies first. I'm going to work with mother agencies first. You guys are going to get an email. It's going to be basically a private invitation to the contest and all the brochures and information that you would need if you want to participate. We are not asking for any monetary value on the participation at all. The only monetary value is to the models interested in actually submitting. There's only one submission fee that is non-refundable and throughout the whole entire contest. And right now we will be just looking for the top 100, and then we're going to go live and we will be presenting all those 100 on a virtual live program where they will show up and do like an act or a dance or something like that. There's going to be different weeks where different talents will be showcased. So please have fun with this. This is not anything dramatic. Nothing, you know. Of course, there was that one thing that I was able to take care of like instantaneously with whoever that was posing, you know, to one of my top models. But that situation is being investigated and taken care of, so no worries in that fact. And that was more or less a defamation, in case if you were wondering about that. So we have a cease and desist going out relating to that situation. But I am excited. I'm excited that we have the big, how I want to say that. So we have the Kids Showdown extravaganza and we have the Spring Fling extravaganza. They're both on the same platform. The reason that we have it that way is to help condense the glitches that happen with the last software program that we were using. So I want to thank Submittable for that. And also our leaddino.com page. Yes, that is where our affiliate page is set up to where you can actually go ahead and start doing some affiliate marketing to SL Models and Talent Agencies extravaganza contests. Now, this is worldwide and it is also world renowned. What we are planning to do, because this is more or less virtual, is let me break it down for you so that there's no confusion. What we plan to actually really do is when it comes to awards, we will be initiating those who have won specific awards to actually come. We will actually pay you to basically be where we're going to do the award ceremony, which will most likely be in Michigan, either Michigan and or Florida, is what we're looking at right now. And it will be 30 days after the contest to give us the time to be able to work out the kinks with embassies and whatnot, depending on who in the contest would actually be winning. And that's where you're going to be getting your spreads, your fashion spreads. We are sending emails out to different magazine companies and whatnot to let them know about what is happening, because we want to share this with everyone. Oh, hello. Okay, so we actually have one of our top models that is actually just saying hello on YouTube at this moment. Okay, so let's oh, before I mention this, I almost forgot. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. It is the gold icon with the red ring around it. Now, I do have another account, which is personal per se, that is called the same business name, but it has me dressed up with the gold icon background in it. That's a different one, although you are more than welcome to watch those videos as well. They're very entertaining, but there are things that are on there that I'm bringing over to here. And then there are other things that have already passed, like this Discover Me Showcase and things like that. Like they were already passed from before. So now what I've decided to do is make a strictly SLMTA account with YouTube. So that's where you're seeing us here tonight. So yes, if you have not subscribed, please do so at SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. And watch some of these videos, because some of them are actually very important to see. It's about how to get into the industry, what to look for, how to pick the scams before they happen to you, some wisdom and breakdowns on what you want to do, how you should behave when you're on set, all these different things. And we're about to have a good one tonight, a very good one tonight, called New Beginnings and to Break Down the Barrier. Just we're going to be talking a whole lot about that tonight. For sure. So, so this is where you will be able to find a lot of content. Now, that's the content part of it. Coming soon, we're going to be doing game shows. I've been trying to push for them, but it's mainly glitches in the software that I'm using. I found another piece of the software that I would be able to use, and it's actually going to help a whole lot. So with that being said, June, we hope to start trivia games. That's what we want to do. We're going to do trivia games. We have some online content from various singers. Now, this could be international or national. If you know someone that wants to express their talent and would like to have an agency express them with them, we are here for that as well. And we could share those things as long as you're providing the permission to do so. We will go ahead and present them, as long as it's music, dance, singing, modeling, even fashion. If you want to explain like the steps to fashion and what you do to create it or something to that sort. If it's like a runway show and you're interested in wanting to like show it off live or something like that, we can do that here. Okay, you just have to give us the permission if you so desire. That is why we do things like photo releases, just in case that just in case if someone decides that they want to pose as a cat and dog on a Facebook photo again. Now you know that we actually do ask permission before we just go jumping the gun. Okay, with that being said, I am on 35 live platforms right now, including YouTube TV, YouTube channel, Instagram, Twitch, Discord, what else? Facebook. We got it all popping over here. Even Twitter, we're on Twitter. We're going to be having some topics on our Twitter account. That is SL Models, I think it is, or Models SL, one of the two. Hello, Flaka Official. How are you? Thank you for visiting. If you have any questions as I'm speaking right now, you can say hello. You can ask questions, what have you. This is an interactive show. Send the request to be in your live. Okay, you want a request to be in the live. View the request, go live what? Let's see. All right, this is the first time I've done this, so let's see how this works. Okay, waiting for, so we have someone that wants to go on a live with me on Instagram. Let's see what this leads to. All right. Hello, hello. This is our SLMTA at night interactive show. Anyone that would like to ask questions about the agency, how to get into the entertainment industry, any basic question for that matter. I don't know if you are there. I'm gonna just say hello and then you let me know if you are there. Okay, so anyway, moving on. So tonight we have a special topic that we want to talk about. And this one actually is going to help those who may have had barriers, or maybe there was a situation like what I ran into yesterday, or what was it, 2 days ago, where someone was talking a little bit bad about the agency or whatnot. How do you deal with those things to move forward? That's what tonight is going to be about. The steps of moving forward, breaking down the barriers. Am I doing something? Let me see. Hello, Flocka. How are you? I'm not sure what is happening there. So anyway, in any case, we have a big contest that is happening. It's called a Spring Fling Extravaganza for any ages 18 on up. And if you are a child, ages 4 to 17, of course, with your family's permission, you can sign up to the Kid Showcase Extravaganza. You can submit up to 3 times as long as it's for 3 different reasons. And there's only one fee to that. Uh, and it's non-refundable, and you can basically once you get into the next level of the contest, you will not have to worry about submitting any other documentation except to try to get to the top #1 position of the contest. That's how that will work. The affiliate program will allow you to earn money while having fun finding those who are interested in actually showcasing their talents and or modeling. Now, the submission is strictly on modeling and fashion, but as time goes on, it will develop into other talents. So if you do not have those other talents, then you can substitute them with something that is similar to that talent. So like if you don't dance, but you want to slay the runway, then you would have to show us how you would be able to do that. And you would be doing that during a virtual live event. So you want to be in an appropriate spot with good lighting, nice angle to the camera, etc., because it will be very important that you do so. You're going to be in front of millions of people at one time when this happens. Let me see. Okay, going back over here, making sure. All right, no more comments there. Okay, so what I also want to bring up too, the topic tonight is going to be slightly different from what you heard yesterday. Yesterday, I was letting you know who you need to be careful speaking to, how you should be speaking with them, and etc. Hello, Nano Cano 135. How are you? Okay. Bug. Not sure what that would mean. Nino Espanol or Francais, but I speak English. That's funny. Anyway, so enjoy the show. Exactly. I'm like cracking it up now. I am on Instagram. We have a few people that are watching live with another friend. That's awesome, though. That's great. Thank you for the support as well. Hi, yes. Hi, Nano. Costume, my fair. Do you speak English? A doormat pillow. At least I'm learning another language, I guess. All right, so tonight, tonight is going to be a very interesting night. Good Sunday night to us. So right now we want to talk about time for new beginnings and break down the barriers. So we have, yesterday I was talking about how you want to communicate, how you actually want to communicate to agents or even to those involved in the industry. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to break down the barriers of those who may have a problem doing that. Okay, that's where we're going to be at, and there's going to be some other plus ups of okay, all right. So anyway, let's go back. What? I don't know what I don't know what that means. Okay. So in any case, okay. So in any case, I'm gonna keep it on the topic. If you have any questions, please ask them along the way. That will be fine. Okay, as long as we're keeping them appropriate and that they are readable. Okay, so right now, for what we're going to do, we're going to recap what we said yesterday, except that we're going to talk a little bit more about not what happened yesterday, but why you should not speak the way that you do. I'm not sure what any of that says. I know what a BMW is. I do know that. It's a vehicle. Okay. I gotta love this. Okay. So yesterday, I was having a conversation about basically withdraw the conversation was some phony conversation with one of our top models. Okay. And basically, what I was trying to address is that regardless of what you want to say, there are specific ways that you want to say it without actually coming out either like stalking or presenting yourself in an inappropriate way. Hello, Stephen. Yeah, hello, Stephen. How are you? Okay, it looks like we might have some English here. So yeah, okay. So in any case, so what I wanted to explain, or what I was trying to explain yesterday, really is how do you communicate clearly to people that you want to have a message come across. In other words, you don't want to say a story that, first of all, two people, one on either side, will not be able to prove. That's number one. Princesses Blank, how are you? So, so basically, I wanted it to bring that to your attention. Now, let me explain to you what I mean by what I just said too. So there's one thing to say that you are doing something, that you are saying something, in the motivation of trying to explain that something is happening with questioning about the organization. And it's another thing to basically come out and just say something that cannot be proven by either party, right? So what happens is while one is dictating the conversation as trying to prove one thing, the other person cannot back it up, nor can the other person back up what the other person is saying. All right. Now, as confusing as that all may sound, let me just bring it back a little bit closer. In other words, if you have nothing to really say, then don't say nothing at all. If you have nothing nice to say, just do not say it at all. Or figure a way how to change it. It's the reverse, okay? Like, for example, and this is what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm leading us into what we actually are going to talk about. So if you are sitting there, if you're one of those that are saying, I cannot do this, then switch your mindset into asking, can I do this? Okay, that way then it gives you something to think about. And if you cannot do it, then rather than you sitting there overexerting yourself as if you can, then don't do it or work into the steps of doing it. Okay. Now, let me give you a little bit closer to home example of what I'm talking about. There are some that are out there that would probably say that they are jealous or whatever the case may be. Instead of you sitting there being jealous and trying to figure out how to develop a rivalry, figure out why the rivalry is happening to begin with, and then put it back that way. Do not sit there and worry about it, because I'm not sitting there worrying about whether or not there will be a rivalry. I really care less what there may be. Okay, but what I will tell you is that what there may be is if you keep speaking in the way that you are speaking, where everybody is nothing but a scam, okay, then what happens is everybody's just going to be a scam. That's it. You have nothing else to even show forth, and you don't even have any way to prove the scam. You'll talk about it, but you won't actually, there's nothing there to show for it, right? Well, tonight, I want to talk about time for new beginnings. And that means all that other negative stuff, like I've told you this before, with SL models and talent agency, I'm going to tell you right now, your negativity needs to be left at the door. Do not think that it will come back to us. And even if the person would never have spoken to us, that certain things had happened, we would still be able to know anyway. It's just research, and it might take a little bit more time, but it will happen, and you would be found out. Now, I don't want to actually waste a lot of time on talking about, I've already spoke a lot about different types of agencies, what they do, and etc. Now, I will tell you how Slmta does run. We have 3 options to actually expose you, and is the only reason why we actually had some growth during a pandemic, in case if anybody wanted to know. Hint, hint. And that is virtual. Okay, virtual is one way. Test shoots is another way. And then we have what we call the regular signing, basically the signing of the contract, okay? All 3 of them require a photo release of some sort. It does not matter if it's going to be virtual, if it's going to be this, if it's going to be that. It will always end up being a photo release. I tell everybody that's what they got to do. They have to sign that. Sometimes they will reply into the email, but I do try to make everything legal in the actual context of hello DocuSign, okay, or hello sign. Long story short, we do this as an opportunity. Now the signing, you know what that is. Now, we will usually only sign pros on up. We won't even sign emerging. And why is that? Because sometimes when you're getting out of college or what have you, you will have the training, but we would treat you more like tests to see how you actually make it in the industry because of the competition and how vast it is. But that doesn't mean that it ends there. It just means that it's easier for us as an agency to figure out where you're going to fit. Okay, that's why we do it that way, especially for emerging models. Emerging models and/or talent for that. But in the process of doing that, in order for us to be able to submit you to different places to see how you'd be found out, is by the successful signing of a photo release that will allow us to be able to test you out to see where you would fit. Okay. The signing means that you would be getting direct bookings. You would be fitting in that pro status. You would be established, perhaps, that type of ordeal. Otherwise, you're going to be starting a new beginning, which is what I'm going to be talking about tonight. You're going to start a new beginning, and you have the hopes that you can be able, something is happening in here with my allergies. Anyway. It's very, very important that you understand where you fit when you're dealing with SL models and talent agency. Now, there are some that are just flat out confused, or they might take what I'm saying and actually twist it into something that look like something that it really isn't, and then try to utilize that as a way of someone's attention. And let me give you an example. Who, especially if you're a beginner, who would actually not want a national agency to expose them as a model potential to see where they are fitting for possible bookings? Now, of course, it does require you to fill out the paperwork for us to have permission to do it, yes. But who would be against that if it's going to give you the biggest possibility without pulling $1 out of your pocket to have to do anything? I'm going to tell you the only folks that would actually have an issue with that is either other businesses that have a rivalry against it because they hadn't thought of it, or be somebody that is flat out jealous. Now, the point that I want to bring about this is that either way, whichever one it is, I'm going to start with business first. If you're a business and you act like this, I would have to tell you it's really shameful, because anybody could be doing this. It just so happens to be that during a pandemic, I found a creative way, besides just doing virtual boot camps and things like that, that I was able to give someone a chance to be seen. But the jealous business would actually turn around and try to use that against me, because why? We would get the potential models. It's not going to cost them $10 to do it, whereas they're going to be losing money because of the real scam that's going on. Hear me on that one. Exactly. I know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to that. All right. Then you might have the human being, okay? The cat and dog fiasco. No, I'm kidding. um, you got the jealousy scenarios picking up on yourself or whatever. This type of a person, unfortunately, is the person that I want to speak to. This is the message that you want to hear. Because it is time for new beginnings. It's time for you to really make things work for you. And if this is not for you, then it doesn't make sense for you to go against somebody else just because this isn't fitting for you. Do you understand what I'm getting at? It does not make sense. Like, if you're not a model, or if I even told you, because sometimes it will happen, I could turn around and, now it's not just me, okay? I have people that are on my list that I have, that work with me. And I also have international models that actually help me in deciding who's a model or whatnot. And some of the folks that come to me, I'm being told what they need to be tweaked. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you cannot tweak it, and the only thing that you could do is say, well, I'm used to being beautiful because that's what my mommy and my daddy and my sister and my brothers and my cousins and all this tells me, then that's why I brought up the event that we have now. If you're beautiful and you got a following and you're actually really wanting to make things work for yourself, then put the words where your mouth is and actually prove it. We got a virtual event coming up. Actually, it's not coming up, it's here. It is here. All right. So if you're saying, oh, I'm beautiful, I'm pretty, my mommy, my daddy, everybody is telling me that I'm pretty and all that, well, then put you and your beautiful face in the contest and let's see how it rocks. You might be the number one, right? But, you can sit there and talk it, you can dream it, you can keep doing whatever you want to do, but you're not going to create it. So even if we're saying that this isn't for you right now, does not mean that we're telling you that it's not for you. In fact, that's why I wrote my photo release very specific, because we have said that it's not just for the event, but for all publicizing. I'm not going to sit there and write a 14-page photo release, but basically what that entails is anything related to Slmta as a whole that would represent you without signing. And that could mean that even though you didn't make it to the top #1 model in the contest, so we could still see how you're exposed in front of other agencies that otherwise might want to take you or sign you. And then we could have that three-way conversation between you and the other agent, and us being a mother agency. In that case, that's a development stage. So yeah, it doesn't end with a contest and, oh, well, I didn't make it to the top, so blah, 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 blah. No. But if you're anticipating to reach the top, then you're going to be one probably out of a million who's going to be able to do it. So you got to figure that one out too. And there's only 20 prizes, okay, within 3 different age groups. So if you think about it, it even gets slimmer. All right. Now, I'm not here to entertain negativity. So now I want to push back and actually say, for those of you that are really interested in the context, this is going to do a lot for you. All right. The very first thing that it's going to do, well, let me just say this first of all. When you actually submit, you're going to actually develop your own profile. That's your profile. Okay. And what we do is when it goes to the gallery for voting in June, what we actually do is we take that and only the things that are visible, it would be your name or it would be your stage name. If you don't want your real name to be shown, you have an option. It's right there on the form. So you don't have to be afraid about that. All right. At that point, we would have to go in the back end and change that the real name be invisible with the real name, with the stage name being visible. So when you let us know about that ahead of time in the submission, and that's what we would do. If you don't put a stage name in there, then we're assuming that it's going to be your real name. All right. The reason that we're doing this is because we are actually expecting major involvement with this. It just started yesterday. Yesterday, it actually was the launch date. Today is the second day for it. I've got a few hundred people or so that's already questioning about it. It's doing very, very good. The thing is that you don't want to wait till the last minute, because then you're going to have to pressure your fan base to actually go in here and start voting. Because the world votes for you. I don't even vote for you. None of the staff of SLMTA have nothing to do with the voting, except that there is a peer review process beforehand to make sure that everything is fair, that there's no red flags, that nobody is faking people's pictures, things like that. Okay, that everything is accurate and that there's no nudity and things that are going to be offensive to the world that is looking at this. Okay, we don't want half clothes off, half clothes on. We don't want see-through. We want you to wear some real fashion, show yourself as what you want to be. Like, this is you. This is who you are. This is all about you. So that's what we want to see. So, and this is a new beginning. This is the presence of being able to showcase yourself. So right in the beginning, you're developing your profile. Then your profile goes to the peer review. The peer review is our, and I forgot to mention this in the introduction part, but we're going to be sending invites to specific clients and agencies. All right. And they will be worldwide, national. So you might be seen in Paris and not even know it. And I'm not going to tell you that it's going to happen or not. That the reason that we say that is world renowned is because of the fact being that we do have world renowned agencies that would be going through the back end, actually taking on to see like who's submitting or whatnot. Because the idea is that they may be interested. That might be a look that they're looking for. Oh, I got about 5 clients right now that because of the SLMTA, we don't actually have enough people within the roster to fill everything up. Like there's one client still looking for like several acts as a film producer. Now, she might go on there in this contest and be able to see, oh, that's the one. Oh, that might work. That might actually work. She looks perfect, whatever. So we might have somebody that is going to be asked to do a job in the middle of the contest. It could happen. I've been at places where I was actually working on a part-time basis relative to an internship that I've done, and a trial job as well. And I have seen where there were contests like this even then, and people were being picked up. I mean, shoot, even those that don't make it to the top in American Idol, you got producers, you got film producers, you got magazine places, and all that, where they're picking people up. All I got to do is go into public records. It's all public. And I could click in there and say, hey, would you like a chance? Now it's up to them. Some of them, they may want their own rights to whatever. If you go to America Got Talent and you look at the public records of who have been in there and whatnot, you might find some very good dancers. Not everybody's going to make it to the number one, but you might find the number one in the number one slot. I mean, that's just how it goes. So the point that I'm bringing out is that this contest that we are doing here at SL Models and Talent Agency is actually going to bring you very strong exposure right from the top. Right from the top. Because besides the world voting you in, I'm going to know from top models, clients, agencies, what have you. They're going to say like, oh, this looks cool. This looks nice. This is great, right? There's going to be comments, maybe questions. Some might be curious, like, you know, are they local or what have you? I mean, it just really depends. But the contest, really, the whole point of me making the contest, while SLMTA would like to fill a roster, we're not really that desperate to fill a roster. We're not just going to go sit there and say, you know, well, you look good. Okay, let's go. I'm going to, you know, no. We're not going to do that. Now, there's some that claim, that's why I don't know who it was, would probably turn around and try to say, you know, we're looking for models. Yeah, we're looking for models, new faces and talent. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, but I'm not desperate either. I'm not going to just sit there and be like, yeah, any person. And I sure am not going to entertain that kind of a language barrier. That kind of thing is a no-no. You're going to leave that in the trash bin or leave it at the door, or I'm going to shut the door on it. One of the two. So, so we do work. We work with people that are looking for people to fill certain positions within their productions and whatnot. We work with different photographers that are looking for someone that is natural. Now, I'm not kidding when I say that. There has been one time where I have been asked about illusionary art. And so I knew someone that could fulfill that position, but the person isn't here right now. So I gotta wait, and that's it. But that is basically where I'm at as far as that is concerned. But there are those that are not comfortable with that, and that's fine. That's why we have what we call an analysis sheet. In SLMTA, we analyze, especially beginners, okay? We analyze you to see where you are, where you want to go, and where you came from, where you are now, and where you want to go. So I do want to bring an alert to you. there is a particular person or something that is posing that is saying specific things, and that those things must be ignored. Okay, because it's time, it is time for new beginnings. It is time to press forward. It is not time to continue making excuses as to why you shouldn't do a thing. And I will tell you, the person that is posing to do this type of scenario, it's either out of jealousy or is coming out of spite, because something that might have not worked for them. I don't know if it's someone that's already, I don't think it is, unless they are posing with different pictures or whatever on a whole nother account. But I don't think it's anybody that is already with us. I think it's somebody that is hearing what we are all about and trying to twist some things that cannot be confirmed either way. Okay, so I just want to let you know that if anything like that is happening, because they're looking at the people, and that's why our roster, speaking of new beginnings, why our roster is not going to be shown live. We're going to email the roster or our talent list to the various clients and or agencies that want to work with us, because this person is particularly, it's somebody doing something, but they're just basically looking, and they're actually like, they are inappropriately messaging some of the models that are on our roster. And I'm going to ask you very politely, okay, do not message people with that. Some of them do not have time to be sitting there reading messages, especially negative ones like that. Okay, so be mindful when you are writing too, because even if it is something that is real, at the very least, know how to spell. You have to be professional when you're doing this stuff. All right, you're talking to a world-renowned model about something that you dislike, and you don't spell right, and then and I love this one too. Okay, you have the one where it switches from I to him to they to he to she, and it's like, well, who are you talking about? Is it I, him, they? Which one is it? And it's all in the same paragraph. So when I started getting confused, I was like, man, I had to, that was actually a cherry on top. When it was shared with me, I was actually cracking up, because I was like, this person doesn't know how to write for nothing. This just doesn't look right. It doesn't look good at all. And it's very unprofessional. So that gets me to what I want to talk about. What communication. When you are working with an agency or you're looking for an agency, you can find out for yourself if the agency is going to be a scam or if they're not, or whatever the case is, by either simply asking questions. And you have to know how to ask the questions. You don't go in there and be like, oh, so-and-so got scammed by so-and-so, and so I want to know if, like, what are you asking? Are you asking if it's a scam? Anybody's going to say yes or no. Or they might just not even answer at all. And then to turn around and claim that you know what is credible and what is not. First of all, I want to do a quick thing. I always like to do this. So I'm going to do this right now. I want to look up the word for mindset, because that's what we're going to go into right now. The mindset, okay? And the mindset for today is credibility. That's what all this that we're talking about tonight is. It's called credibility, all right? I want you to actually know what the Webster Dictionary meaning of credibility is, and then you can find out if whether or not you are using it in the right context. Okay, hold on. Because when you write to someone like me, I am even that nitpicky. Are you using words in the right context? Because how can you use the word scam and credibility in one paragraph, asking the same question using three different ways of speaking of one person or thing? It doesn't make sense. All right. So tonight's mindset, and by the way, this is a noun, okay? I'm sorry. I'm crazy with this, okay? You may not want me to be your instructor. I don't know. The quality of being believable or worthy of trust. Now, the thing is to match a pandemic with credibility is not the right context. Why? Because how do you not know what credibility an agency has? The real thing is the real question is, are you the top model for SLMTA? As simple as that. Are you the top model for SLMTA, right? At that point, that would shut the person's mouth up that is either jealous or is actually trying to pull the scam trick. But that is what credibility is. Are you a place that is believable and worthy of trust? Have you actually done certain things? See, what I'm focused on is helping even agencies to even understand how they speak. Because there are some agencies that will sit there and say, we got some of the top notch of this, so you got the top notch of that, we got the Hollywood of this and the Hollywood of that. But then the next thing you know, the first question I would ask is, well, who is the first? I want an actual name. Who is the first person you can think of right now who is on your roster that is actually in Hollywood? Now, I have never brought that up. I have never said, in fact, that will be the day that I will be like excited. That will be a huge milestone if any of my roster actually hit Hollywood floors. We know how to get them there. Some of them need a lot of practice to get there, but some of them, I believe in, I know a few people that can get there within a month, but they're on lockdown. I'll put it that way, because they're not American, okay? But let me put it to you this way. It's one thing to say that a person is working in Hollywood, okay, and doing various projects. Another thing if they're actually being booked. And then you can start seeing the relevance, because when you start hearing them talk, okay, the talking gets a little bit misconstrued with what the introductions are. Like, for example, we all know that the pandemic went bad on all of us, right? We know that. But why are we stuck in a pandemic? Come on, folks. It's time to move it on. Are you hearing me? It's getting close to midnight, so I got to slow it down a little bit. But are you hearing me? You're over here. You're still stuck in the pandemic. How long are you going to be in the pandemic? You're going to be in it for the next 5 years? some of us are sitting there like, there ain't nothing that I can do. I don't know how to make money. Oh, well, hold up. Let's back this thing up. What do you mean? As talented as you are, and I'm speaking to some of you out there, you know who you are. What do you mean you don't know what to do? And that you're not, and that you can't make money or you can't do anything and you're stuck. The only one that is stuck would be you. Nobody else is gonna unstuck you either. Only you can unstuck yourself. So how do you break down that barrier? You have to ask yourself, instead of, I can't do a thing, I don't know what to do, to asking yourself, what can I do so that I can get out of this situation? Now, it depends on the goal. You have to be real. Now, I will tell you that Neptune is pretty busy tonight with some Chiron going around too for the next couple of months. So I don't want to turn this into an astrology reading, but what that basically means is that for any of you guys that are squaring off with Saturn or Chiron, you might be dealing with an issue where your dreams are too bigger than what your expectations are even. In other words, you're dreaming like, I want to be there by now, but God's saying not now. And now you're stuck, and then you're trying to figure out, what do I do? So I'm here to tell you what you can do. Are you one of those that are very good with cooking? You know, you might not be able to travel, say, from the United States to India. We'll use that as an example since there's a mandate on it. But in the United States, things are open. So even if there was a mandate where you couldn't travel nowhere, France, Italy, anywhere, right? What do you mean that you're stuck and you can't do nothing? There is plenty more than what you think that you could do. And sometimes you might just have to lower yourself down a bit. This could be a karmic do-over for some of you, especially on an international level. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's what I'm seeing. Especially if you're in the columns of Libra, Leo, or Taurus, even for that matter. I'm seeing it big there. Huge. Why? Because you guys are squaring off with Saturn and Chiron. Some of you have a big issue with Chiron right now. And it is holding things up. So what is happening is you have to learn how to get past those past wounds. That's what Chiron is about. Chiron is about the past wound, okay? And you have to get past those wounds to be able to see either the positive or the negative award that is behind it. Then the real question is, and this is one that we all have a problem with. I even have a problem with it, believe me. I'm in the middle of that right now as I speak, and I'm a Gemini. And that is, some of us have to just be willing to wait. It's like, I don't know, it's like a war on patience. Okay. Last year was the war on the pandemic. This year is called the war on patience. Folks, not everything is just going to be hunky-dory like what we thinking it's going to be. And some of us thought that one thing was going to work, and it turned out and it was a whole nother thing. For some of us, it could be more costly, while others, it's not even about a finance thing. It could be other scenarios. It could be spiritual shortcomings, whatever the case may be. All right. So in any case, what I'm trying to get at is when you are developing new beginnings, what you are doing is you're trying to set yourself up in a way where you could be prepared for the ultimate award. And it looks like my my computer is acting up. I do see that on Instagram, I am okay, but that's dealing with my phone. But on here, it's weird. I'm hoping that it's not going to cut off again. It would be an odd spot to cut off. Okay. Sorry about that for those of you that are probably watching me on Facebook or YouTube and Twitch, because it seems to be that there was some little bit of a glitch there in the Zoom thing, it looks like. In any case, so what we want to do is we want to take a step back. In order to know what the new beginnings are, we need to be able to take a step back from what the old was. So there are going to be old wounds. Now, I will tell you this much. I've learned that lesson for 2 years ago. Okay. And it was not a good one. And it also include on top of it, ego problems where I had to learn about my egos and stuff. And usually this happens when God is leading you to your like soulmate or to your, well, some of you, it might just mean your twin flame. It could mean that. But in order for you to actually have a real good relationship, things have to happen to get cleaned up. Okay. And so what you have to do is you have to know what barriers you have set up for yourself. All right. And the goal is that your new beginnings will allow you to freely move past those barriers. And then you would be able to free yourself to move forward to the next challenge. So if you are a person that is talking about pandemic, and I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, then this is something where you want to get some spiritual upliftment to figure out the steps in the process of breaking down your barriers. Because a lot of people know what to do. I've helped a friend in Venezuela where nothing was happening, nothing at all. And I said, okay, I remember you telling me that you make sweet donuts. Oh, what a nice idea. Okay, well, why don't you go make sweet donuts and sell it in your currency to those in Venezuela? Oh, but the stores, no, not, oh, but the store. So stores is going to sell it to you as long as you got it. Well, I ain't got it, so I can't do nothing. Okay, now we have another problem. We don't have that financial stability to be able to do it. Well, I'm thinking that God is actually showing a true light sample, because some of us in the past, and I am among them, okay, some of us in the did not know how to utilize our expenses and financial books. And therefore, when the important thing happens, the finances get drained out. Well, that is pretty much what is happening, and what the biggest test is that's even going to happen even when you get out of the pandemic. Everybody is talking about stimulus this, stimulus that, we're going to get this, we're going to get that. Well, you know, the limit could reach the limit at some point. And the real question is, what do you have to show for it? Now, only you can answer that question. Okay, that's not a judgment call. I don't need you to answer the question for me. It's a hypothetical question that only you would be able to answer. Now, some of you may not have a money problem, but it may be relation problems. Well, this one don't want to listen to me. And every time I go and I'm doing this and they want to blah, blah, blah. Well, first of all, some of that could be just petty, and you got to figure out how to work around that. The other thing is if you knew that you had not had the money, like say it's someone that is a new relationship, but a baby is involved. If you knew that you couldn't afford at that point, what were you doing even trying to start a family in a period that it could not happen? Do you see where I'm getting at? And then you have more problems that just add up to that. So what do you do when you're in these problems? You have to be a little bit creative. See, this is where Neptune actually does good. See, Neptune is the spiritual emphasis of creativity and physical beauty. And I don't mean physical just like you, because that's actually more Venus. Okay, that's Libra and Taurus for you. I'm talking specifically about physical beauty, as in like flowers, senses, that kind of thing. And creativity, like your singing and music, music, dancing, acting, modeling, designing, drawing, painting, sculpturing, whatever, okay? So there may be something out there that you are able to do that you can create your income from if you have money problems. And for some of you that still want to be shown, instead of sitting there complaining about the pandemic, why is this agency trying to look for models during a pandemic? What you should be doing is preparing for after the pandemic, because that is going to be the time that you want to be ready. So if you're sitting there worrying about a pandemic, then you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck, period. I could actually promise you that. It's a guarantee. You're going to just sit there and worry about the pandemic, then you're not going to get nowhere. What did I tell you? If you put nothing in it, you're going to get nothing. So do something about it. Hello, Positive Vibe, the label. How are you? Yes, indeed. We need the positive vibes, indeed. Indeed, we do. So that's what I'm talking about. If you put nothing into it, you're going to get no results. So instead of sitting around waiting for the pandemic, allow the pandemic to work for you. That's how I look at it. So instead of saying, I can't, instead of saying, I can't, start questioning, can I? It will become more of a positive way of thinking. So I kind of am a little bit confused. I would actually change that screen name. I literally thought that this was somebody with some positive vibes, but boy, and they came at me with such negative response. I like when someone comes on for a minute and would literally actually say, and I'm not going to repeat the whole sentence, but they'll actually say, like, what am I watching? But not be on long enough to even know what was there. Oh, it's the same thing that always happens, you know. Again, that goes right back to what I was saying. You do nothing, you're gonna get nothing. I mean, if you're gonna say, I don't know what I'm watching, just flick it right off, and not know what you were watching, then you're not gonna know what you were watching. So it's probably best that you had left. Okay. In any case, now that I got that out of the way with our Instagram positive vibe there, I want to bring some more positive news to you. So the pandemic is not our excuse. We are the excuse for the pandemic. We are the one that got the problem. So what we need to do is we need to figure out how to create around it. And there are some of us that knew how to do that. There are some that just don't know how to do it, and they flat out are not doing anything about it. And then there are some of us that are actually thinking about how to do it, but might have went the wrong way. So I'm going to give you a couple steps there as well. The first step is I want you to think about, list everything that you know you can do. Okay, that's the first step. List everything that you know you can do. Because then that gives you a little bit of a positive reaction in your mind, like, oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do that. Okay. And then list what you have right now. Okay. And what I mean by that is list what it is that you may have that can encounter the list that you have that you said you can do. Let me give you an example. Say you're a model, you're a fashion designer, you're a cook, you like to draw, and you have and you like to sing. Okay. Cool. All right, that all works, right? Now, what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, for example, singing. Do you have a microphone? No. Okay, well, maybe I might not be able to do. Can I sing into a microphone? Do I have software? Can I get software online that will work, like Audacity or some things like that? You know, some software. Oh, okay. I might know different languages. Can I tutor someone that doesn't know French? Can I tutor someone that doesn't know Spanish? Do I understand those languages? Am I fluent? Do I know how to write? Can I actually write for someone and make some money from it? I'm a cook. But of course, I can't send all this to America, or I can't send it to Italy or whatever. But maybe I live in Italy, and while Italy is not open to the world, Italy is open to itself. Maybe I could just cook a home meal and send it out there. I'm giving you an idea, and send it out there, and it'd be an idea that people could pay for your recipe. Maybe someone could pay for your cooking. Or you could be like the friend that I had in Venezuela who knows how to make donuts, and he's making donuts for everybody. And he's selling them, in that currency to Venezuelans. I mean, there is ways to make money than to just sit there and say, I don't have it. Now, does it mean that, how do I want to say this? Does it mean that you may not have it for a little bit? Probably. It depends. Like if you actually are flat out broke, then you're probably going to need a little bit of a lifting hand. Like I've done that before. I plan to do it again here with another friend of mine or so. And what the hope is that it could be invested to where it will triple the amount that I'm providing. Even if it's little or if it's a decent sum, the idea is, but in the now, it's all about getting that list together and getting the other list together about how you can combat that situation. And then you got to figure out if you're going to do any of these things, who the target audience will be. So if you're a singer, then it's very easy. You could develop a website or whatever, and you can have everything right there. Or you could ask someone like me that might be able to develop an actual live on YouTube, and you could just sit there and actually sing if you wanted to showcase your talent. This isn't about whether or not I'm desperate to have somebody on my roster. This is about getting the exposure and really just seeing that we could share a light with the expenses and money that could come in from it. Some are just flat out greedy, and that's another negative that needs to go behind you and move forward. Yes, we do. Yes, we did learn mistakes where maybe we were asking people to do things under commission and people hadn't paid you. There's a way to actually work around that to where it still works the same way. Now, what Slmta likes to do, which some clients understand this, some do not at all. We always like to plan our events and end them at least a week or two earlier for the last submitter on purpose. Why? Because when we do pay the people and we say that they're going to get 20% commission or whatever, what we're doing is we are going to pay them before they have to do it, and they will see that it has been paid. It's the same way as it would be if I was to pay $1,200. So, because here's the problem when it comes to paying up front. When you pay up front, and I'm only saying this to be real, okay? When I pay up front, I could literally say $500, right? And then it turns out to be a $30,000 scenario. And now we're kind of like, do you see what you've lost? You know, when I said 20%, that would have been $5,500 more. That would have been made. Now, if you didn't think it was worth that much, that's one thing, but then give it to charity where they may need it if it's not worth that much. But the point that I'm getting at is that's why we do that. We do a lot of our events commission-based, but we also make sure that they are paid prior to, which is why even with our contest, it is due July 31st, but the voting continues on through the end of August. Why? Because if we're going to hire a host on September 15th or 21st, excuse me, for our first showdown virtual, then we're going to need the money right then and there to be able to do that. And that's what all that is. So the idea is, instead of sitting there asking for sponsors to pay $150,000 to do a great big thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say anything, but there are sponsors that we do have that are going to come in with some vendors as well. And we're going to have a contest during the virtual live where we are going to see who the best store is in the buying power. Why? Because everything is going to be shown literally live, to the point where we are hoping, you know, we have a very, very specific way that we want to do things that are going to help the stores anyway, even if the sponsorship didn't happen or not. Because the idea is to showcase the brand of the specific clothing lines or different store brands or what have you. But there are specific vendors who have paid in to actually be part of the virtual vending program for our virtual live show that we're going to be starting on September 21st-ish. There are some, I'm not going to lie, because I'm not saying that I'm going to be the best looking person. I don't think that I am, but I'm confident of who I am, and I know that I'm a real business person, and I've learned a lot of my mistakes to worry about my ego to go ahead of me. So there would be some folks, and I say it, that would be like what this person was saying, like, what the heck am I watching? They might have saw me and was like, ran. That's fine. I've seen that many a times. That doesn't bother me one iota. Even if this person was to try to go and say something behind me or whatever the case may be. Yes, I will be honest. I am at my home office. So probably what you're thinking is, why are you talking about SLMTA at home in that office? It's because this is basically how I'm reaching any credibility that I do have. And there are some that actually do believe in me and know what SLMTA is about, and that we're not just a fake. And by the way, I even went as far as making sure that my articles of incorporation, licenses, and all that are public, so that you could just go ahead and research it. It's in the state of Michigan. We have an office that you can go to. We don't recommend it because right now there are still mandates related to this industry that, you know, is keeping that from happening. So even though stores could be open, entertainment related information is still not adaptable to the state of Michigan. So, I mean, I still have to make things happen, nevertheless. And that's the sad part, because we're in the middle of a bunch of stores. I'm in a shared space with a store that is surrounded by other stores in a big building. And so, and that's the way it has to be for right now until SLMTA does what it needs to do. But that's my personal life. I'm doing what I can do to be able to build up to the next milestone. But you know what? Instead of sitting there being negative about something that I'm doing, why don't you figure out what you could do to be either involved or keep you in your negativity and leave it at the door? That's your two options. because I am making a difference in the world of entertainment one way or the other. It doesn't make a difference what you may think. I used to think that people are thinking. Now that thinking is just too much thinking. I don't really care for it. And I don't mean it as in like, you know, I also I'm very alert. Hello to you, TK Fox. How are you? So what you are watching tonight is the SLMTA at night show. Instagram is not part of Zoom, so you are seeing me directly in the office space, the home office space on Instagram, whereas Zoom has my background for the trivia and performance backgrounds in them. So yeah, so it's a little bit different. It's going to change soon though. I have new software that's going to add Instagram into it, so things will get better, I promise. But for now I have to do it this way. And so it is an interactive show, so you can ask any questions that are relative to the industry or, you know, about SLMTA period. Yes, I am at the home office, and I'm at the home office for the simple reason and that there are still mandates that does not allow specific things entertainment related within Michigan. Okay, Michigan is probably going to be one of the last states that actually will allow any of this, but I still am pressing on and doing what I need to do despite the fact. And so a lot of what I'm doing is virtual. But there are those that are haters. I will say that I've reached them. Yes, I did. It took me about a year into the pandemic to actually reach my first hater that was talking about 3 people that I've known, claiming that I known them. I don't know them. I don't know anybody that, yeah, anyway. Nobody that I know of, anyway. But there are some haters out there, unfortunately. And so I laugh it away and keep it moving. So tonight's topic was about time for new beginnings. And what I'm discussing is how to get into new beginnings. Because there's a whole lot, like I've mentioned this myself actually, about how sometimes, now here's another thing that I want to bring up too. I know it sounds like I just abruptly changed my mind on what I was saying, but that's because I don't want to forget this. Sometimes I will be asked to help businesses do specific things and then want to know a budget. So I'm here to tell you that SLMTA has created a new beginning on that. And the new beginning on that is to be sure, and I'm here to help you with this, but you need to be sure that the budget that you want to talk about is going to be brought back with the finances coming back to you. So let me give you an example of what I mean. Now, this is business related, okay? This is actually doing smart business. You don't want to have the most glamorous projected, and Neptune is very big right now. There's a lot going on with Tauruses out there today. Okay, it is true. And especially in the entertainment business, where I'm noticing that there's all this big glamour that they want to have, but the budget doesn't fit it, or they don't know how to communicate the actual budget to be able to do it. And then what makes it worse is whether or not they can even get the money back that they paid in. So while, and again, this is business related only. I'm not saying that this is like every tourist that's out there. There are some that are not business savvy. They just, you know, they could be leaders in other ways or whatever the case is. But this is, I'm looking at it in a time lapse of astrology, so to speak. But I'm telling you that it's actually happening because Neptune is really squaring off with this, okay? And the thing is that they want a lot of stuff going, and some of them are even becoming very impatient about it. And what's happening is it's easier to blame somebody else about something that is happening, but not necessarily realizing the steps in business to do it. Like, for example, the one thing that I've learned about Slmta is this. When I bring a decision to the table where I'm asking somebody to help, I want to be sure that at the very least, at the top, and it is true, before you ask anybody to help about anything, you have to know what your budget is already. Meaning before you could even say boo, because my question is going to be, if your budget is $10,000 and you want me to pay $5,000 into it, am I going to get more than $5,000 back from that? Or am I actually going to be spending $5,000 and nothing happens? And then, of course, then I'm going to want to know other things like, what's the vision behind this? What is the purpose behind it? This is for the business person to know how to do it. And then I basically step in and say, okay, I could do this. And if I'm not able to do a certain thing, one or two things happen. And I've done this with businesses already. One or two things will happen. And I want to be very upfront about it. I would either have the budget and say, okay, here you go, we're going to do this. I'm going to tell you a specific date of when I will have it. Or I might say, look, I'm going to pay you $500. But after the actual presentation or whatever, I'm going to go ahead and I will take my profits. You could take my profits and pay the remainder amount. But if there is nothing else coming back, this is the new thing that I'm doing now. If there's nothing coming back, then you have taken a loss, because I'm not going to go paying for something if someone didn't know how to do their business. Do you understand what I'm getting at? So that's going to be the straight to the point objection that I'm going to have from here on out when I'm working. Now, again, that's not partnerships like starting regional offices and stuff like that. That's if someone wants to collaborate with me. I need to know what the collaboration is and that there will be a benefit between the two. But I also want to be sure I have to be like any other investor when it comes to money. That am I going to get something from this, or is this just me just spending $3,000 and something ain't happening? Okay, that's just how it goes. That's just the reality, is what I'm saying. So I would be willing, and that's what I've been telling folks about this before. I would be willing to say, okay, I will pay, like, say the budget is, I don't know, 6,000 and you want 3,000 from it. I would probably say, all right, I'll pay $1,000 by the end of August. And then after the event, then you could take the 2,000. But if you don't make the 2,000, you're going to have to take the $2,000 loss. Because if I'm not making nothing from it, then that means that you didn't make anything to pay the 2,000 to begin with. You see where I'm getting at? So that would be the benefit of that type of collaboration. So that's the only two ways that that would actually work. Is either that you can actually prove to me that you're going to be able to make the money that I'm going to be paying in, or that I will pay something and then hope that there will be a profit. If not, you're going to be taking a loss anyway. That is what we call by default. Because if you have not made $2,000, then I'm not going to pay $2,000 of something that you've taken a loss on anyway. All right. So that's a new beginning for SLMTA. But why? Because I've learned that I've been taking a lot of losses. I've been helping people. I've been helping, even if it's friends or whatever. But I hadn't really done anything. I hadn't seen any actual results with some of the things. Most of the things I've done, I've seen very good results. So I'm able to actually, pay back in when that time comes. Like, for example, when it comes to visas and stuff like that, that's one thing. Right. And then if someone needs help, to start a project while they're waiting for this pandemic or whatever to go through, that's a whole nother thing. Why? Because it could benefit both of us anyway, because I could turn around and say, here's 300 for you in Venezuela. But by the end of it, I should be able to make at least 600 from it, because everything's going to double up with the fact that they're actually making more. Like the 300 is way more in Venezuelan whatever anyway. It'd be the same thing like if I sent 300 sites to Morocco and it turned out to be 1,700 or something. I don't know what the currency exchange is. Well, 1,700 could, if we're doing it smart, 1,700 could actually stretch into, say, 8,500. So now the 300 could be returned back twice as much. But if that is going to benefit them, that's a different story. The point that I'm getting at is that you have to know how to do things that's going to multiply, even if it means that you got to dumb down what you're doing in order to do it. It doesn't mean that you're dumb. It just means that, and I'm sorry, I say things like they are, okay? I'm very, very specific. So I apologize ahead of time if I'm hurting any feelings in this way. But the truth of the matter is that sometimes you have to just lower yourself to where it fits a real budget. I'd rather spend $500 on something and get it partially right, and then maybe make 3,000 and then do it again and perhaps have a $2,000 budget than to sit there and blame somebody because an event didn't work because blah, 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 whatever the case might be. Because it doesn't make sense. Okay, if nobody signs up to become a model, right? I'm doing my work. If nobody signs up for the contest, so that's going to put savings into my pocket then in the end. That's what it will do. I've already spent the money that I needed to do what I needed to do. It's there. It's done. Okay, so if nobody does anything, it's because nobody wanted to. That's the way I see it. But that doesn't mean that I didn't do a good job. That just means, it's being advertised, it's being plastered all over Facebook, all over Instagram. I mean, it's a thing. I'm actually going to be doing a press release and whatnot. There are several things that are going to be happening here. But I mean, technically my my launch date was on a weekend. And I've learned that lesson instantly, that you don't want to launch something on a weekend, because most people, they might be online exploring per se, but they're not, like, even other agencies, like I wouldn't send them an email on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to get it until Monday. And if they're actually busy, it might not be by the end of the week. Most cases, I mean, even with me, I'll get emails between Monday and Tuesday. I won't get back to it until Friday. And if it's not Friday, it's going to be sitting there until Monday of that next week. I mean, I have contracts I got to sign right now with pop singers and all that. I'm hoping to get to it Monday, which is like, Monday just started. Good morning. So that's where we're at right now, in that regard. But there's so much goodness coming out of SLMTA. Sometimes I do overexert a little bit, but that's because I have a way of doing it. I'm not going to sit there and actually say, well, we have top models that are in Hollywood, because then someone's going to ask me, well, who's a top model that's in Hollywood? And if not, then what they're going to say is, no, this is too good to be true, I don't believe it, and then turn around and start spreading garbage, right? So I know what I'm doing. I know that I don't have anyone yet that was in Hollywood. Not to mention, though, I do say that I speak with those that are in Hollywood. Why? Because I have contacts. Oh, and that was another thing I forgot to do. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I have contacts that are several hundred pages long in length that I wanted to actually screen share. Now, Instagram, you're not going to know about it, but I'm going to just say it like it is. It's about this thick, literally, this thick of contacts, okay? And if I would have printed all out, I don't think I would even have enough money for all the paper. I don't think Staples will have enough paper to print it all. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm going to show you exactly what I have tomorrow. If you follow me on YouTube, you'll actually see that whole list come tomorrow. I'm not afraid to share it. I will share it so that you will actually see music, news, media, all this. Okay? And the thing is that, yeah, I could say that I have these contacts, but the thing is that, yes, we do need a roster for these contacts so that the clients actually know what's going on. And we got to have models that are actually worthy of doing something, or we cannot have wannabe that's not going to do anything and then turn around and just spread garbage. It doesn't work that way. And I'm going to be very loud and clear on that. We cannot have wannabes sitting around doing nothing but spreading garbage and then expect to be able to do something. Now, whoever that was before, first of all, the top number one thing you don't want to do is actually defame a business. So we take that serious. I'm not even talking about the fact that they mentioned the word scam in it, which is false, because we hadn't even asked money from anybody yet. We basically said it, there are prices, but we don't force nobody to do it. That's the difference. We have different programs that we will do, and it's up to them if they want to do it, but we're letting them know what the investment is, point blank. But I'm not going to sit around and go in circles with it. Well, hello to you as well. Make photografia. I just wanted it to I wanted to share that because I don't want anyone to, and by the way, what you are hearing is a live interactive show with SLMTA at night. Typically I do these at night. It's a 3-hour interactive show where you can ask questions. You can let us know anything that you want to know about the industry, anything that you want to know about SL Models and Talent Agency, how you can get into the industry, whatever. But we also have a topic, and tonight's topic is time for new beginnings and to break down barriers. And that's what we're discussing tonight. And it's usually about a 3-hour interactive show. So yes, continuing on. So there are some folks out there that just simply don't understand what is going on, or they're just too much of a dreamer and they don't expect of anything but to just assume their beauty and then turn around and expect that everything happens. And if it doesn't happen, then they all of a sudden try to use the excuse, oh, this person was, doing this and this and this, when that's actually not what's going on. Because nobody can get anything without a photo release with SL Models and Talent Agency. And when I tell you, I want you to understand this, the important question that you want to ask when somebody said, I'm using pictures and then they were taken off, ask them, what picture was I using, or something to that sort. And a real person that is going to really, really dig deep into it, if they're wondering if I have a top model, then what you want to do is you want your evidence. Show me the picture that you're claiming. All right. That way, then there is proof going both ways. If you ain't got the proof, then you have no meaning to talk except that you're just taking trash and trying to put it on somebody else. So that's where I'm at with that. But the thing is that it is defamation. So the reason that I brought it up is because defamation is taken serious in the United States, okay? It is actually an illegal thing to do. And when someone, it's like defaming someone's character. And what defamation of character is, it's a way of lying about something that someone's doing that they didn't do, basically. And they have no way of backing it up. So that's where we are at in regards to that. Now, if there was a way that they could back it up and it was actually legit, not just, and I'm not talking about screenshot. Screenshot would be a way that you can do it. But I know the difference between screenshot and edited photos, okay? And you'd have to be pretty good. There's been at least one or two in my lifetime, but this wasn't even way before I even did talks about SLMTA. SLMTA wasn't even existent. But basically, there was one very good artist that knew how to literally edit photo, to literally lie about someone to the point that the chief of police would even be involved. And I'll make a long story short, not too many things went too far, So I look at it as you have to know what is going to be legit versus what is. Even if someone's going to try to claim scams. So let me explain to you about this, because this is a big thing that's important in the world today as well. You need to know the right questions to ask agencies, right? Like, do you have clients? Okay. Follow-up question would be like, what are some clients that you have worked with? It, unless you see it on the website, then it's no question needed, probably. Then you would probably say, well, have any of your models been booked by these clients, right? Because it's one thing, see, SLMTA has clients, I'm not gonna lie here. We have clients that we work with, but we probably only have 3 people on the whole roster that is prepared and ready to actually go to any of them. And then I got one, but he's still stuck overseas, who can get direct bookings. So yeah, we have clients, but we need more on the roster to be able to fulfill what the clients are really looking for, because it's technically, some of them need some work, but some of them are just sitting on it and not doing anything. Okay. And then we have some that are actually like saying they want to do it, but it's just sitting there talking about how they want to do it, but they're not doing anything. So we have that issue too. How do you move from wanting to do it to actually doing it? Well, first you got to ask yourself, is this important for you? Is this something that is going to fit for you? If you're saying that everybody, here's something that I've learned that I will not accept any longer, because I hear it a lot. Believe me, it's the biggest, it's probably the most expensive scam when it comes to time wasting that any agency will have to deal with. So agencies, listen to this. When you actually get in front of when someone gets in front of you and they are telling you, oh, my friends or my family always says I should get into modeling, and you have to sit there for 15 minutes to hear that story, it's probably time for you to run. Unless they can show you something that convinces otherwise. Why is that? Because most of us would know, like, if I had Ashraf sitting there with me to judge, like in the judging panel to see if that person's a model, I mean, not to mention that they could be a model. They might, there's going to be work that has to be done. They may have to lose, like me, I already know I'll have to lose weight. I would have to toughen up a little bit. There's things I'm going to have to do, but that doesn't mean it can't stop me from not acting. I can act. Oh, you want to bet? I could surely act. I promise you this is not an act, okay? But I can literally act if I wanted to. So when I'm running an agency, I run really fast unless there's something convincing. And the thing that is convincing usually comes with a resume. If you cannot come prepared with a resume, now again, even with our community stars, now some of you on some of you on Instagram that I'm looking at right now are actually on our Facebook. But those of you that are on Facebook, you probably saw those real long, very detailed information. There are 2 reasons why Community Stars is wanting to have these specific informations listed the way that they are. And that is because of A, fraud, and B, that we don't want to be scammed, and C, we want to be sure that the real person is the person. But we cannot just accept anybody that's just going to waste their money. We don't want you to be wasting your money. We don't want to invest in a person if they're not going to do it, because Community Stars is a lot of education involved in it. Okay. Look at the one course that I'm going to be teaching, which is the entertainment law, introduction to entertainment law. Now, I'm not a lawyer or what have you, but there's enough information in there that I could give you that is very knowledgeable, that is necessary. And then there are other things like if you want to know about entertainment law, hello to you, Thomas Midnight. How are you? There are other classes that you could take, and we would just have to get an entertainment lawyer to be able to teach those because they are the responsible party to do so. They can do it. In fact, I might even hire an entertainment lawyer to do that one, but I have decided to do so. So, Thomas, I wanted to let you know what you are watching is a 3-hour interactive show. I'm about 2 hours into it now. It's the SLMTA at night. I've started to do it on Instagram again because it's been a while since I've been on Instagram, but I'm live on Facebook, YouTube, etc. And we do different topics about the entertainment industry, what to look for, how to get involved, and things like that. And you can also join us if you are interested. We have a contest. Everything is on our last post of the links that you want to see. We have an affiliate program where you can earn money to do so. And there's also the chance that if you think that you want to be the next top model, we have a contest, the Spring Fling Extravaganza, that you could be involved with. So there are a couple of links there that you could check in. And once this show is done, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Thank you. Make sure you're posting on I'll be sure to post it on this story as well so that you can have that information. It's a very easy submission. Are you a model or have you? I guess that's probably the best way to put it because I don't know who you are outside of your screen name. If you are a model, that might actually be better potential for you. Okay, you do model. Okay, on a professional level, where are you from? And I want to give you a huge FYI because there are, oh, okay, well, I'm at my home office. This is what you're seeing right now. I'm at my home office because Michigan's still dealing with that stuff. Oh, okay. Um, Excellent, excellent. Okay, are you signed with anyone? I mean, that doesn't mean anything to the contact, but if you're not signed with anyone, I'm guessing that you're probably a freelancer. But I do want to give you a huge heads up, and that is that there is some haters out there about SLMTA. See, I don't. Usually modeling agencies get accused for taking people's money. I'm actually getting accused for taking pictures. So I don't with AIM ended. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm familiar with that. Well, oh, okay, mother agency. So then you're actually going into some training. You're a trained model with the potential of getting bookings. Perfect. And I believe with mother agencies, because I have spoken with them, and we are a mother agency too for beginner with SO Models and Talent Agency. But we also have a division for when you are actually professional, then we can put you on our national list because we're a national world-renowned agency here. But we do have a beginner's development as well. So that's great. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I will share with you the link. So I'll send you an actual email too. I might even, because I'm sending mother agency emails tomorrow, I may actually add AIM Industries to my list and invite them to invite their model list to participate in the program as well, because it's a huge contest. It's going to be worldwide. Everybody's going to be included. And it will be a live virtual event starting September 21st. So if you make it to the top 100, it'll dwindle down from there. So, hey, this might be your chance. Either way, even if you don't make it to the top 100 though, either way, you're going to definitely get exposure, because there's a lot of agencies that are going to be on the back end of that. So they're going to be looking at that, and a huge list of clients are going to be in and out of this as well. So it's going to be awesome for sure. So yeah, so there we go. So we were just talking with someone now who actually stepped up a month ago and is doing new beginnings. And that's what this talk show is about tonight. It's about how to get away from the past and move on to the future, okay, with good flow. It's SMS. What is that? Hello to you. So the first thing that we want to do, that we want to break down the barriers on, is this. We want to first write a list of everything that you know, that you like to do, or that you can do. There is going to be a difference though, because the second thing, you want to divide up what you want to do versus what you can do. Because what you want to do, again, unfortunately, it's the terms want to be. Indeed. Have a very good evening. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I'll be sure to share that with you. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are dividing your list, and then you want to make another list that is going to show how you're going to accomplish what you have or what you can do. Now, usually when you're answering what you can do, you know you can do it. Okay, so for example, let's say you're a painter, but you never really had time before this pandemic. So now you have a month to sit down and do nothing, but maybe wine, right? No, I'm kidding. But sit down and do nothing. So what you could do is say, well, do I have crayons? Do I have a pen? Do I have paper? Can I do something with this? So the things that you can do is what you want to write in that second list, like that you can literally do. Like I can cook and I can sell like this or that. Or maybe, just maybe, I'm throwing this out there because one of my colleagues, if I will, is that the appropriate way of saying it, who is very big with another modeling agency, does health regimens and actually does classes. So if you're one of those that are like, oh, I know how to keep you healthy, and you want to do some kind of like coaching, or maybe you're a licensed consultant, or you're looking into being licensed to be a consultant. then you could do that, because that's what I'm doing. I'm getting ready to do, spiritual consulting is what I'm getting ready to do. It's kind of like, it's the thing close to counseling, but I'm not trying to do like, I'm not trying to sit there and do readings. I actually want to help the person in their growth, both in their personal life and in their business life, because sometimes the personal life gets in the way of their business, but it can happen where they can be harmoniously together. And sometimes you just gotta accept where you are, who you are in the now, to be able to move further. So, and I've learned all this. I understand what it is to be in a spiritual ego test. I know what the spiritual ego is. I've been there with the fear energy. I'm in the love energy now. It's like the universe is actually aligning with what needs to be done. Of course, it's going to be rocky. I'm not saying that everything is hunkadory, and it's not. But the thing is that by the time you get through these tests, and you don't want to be with karmic debt. I actually go as far as how you can get rid of karmic debt, but it's going to be a process, because some people only go as far as karmic debt and they believe that you're stuck in it. That's not actually true. There are ways of knowing you. I will be able to show you how to get out of the unstuck position, because you can be unstuck. There is no reason why you cannot be. All right. And that is another thing that I like. And I'm actually going to throw this gratitude out to a female that I met in my spiritual awakening process, Tammy, where I've been basically introduced to a lot of this that was going on, because for a minute there, I was confused about what was even happening, even though that, yeah, I mastered a lot of things in my life, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I was walking in that right position. I might have been parallel, but it wasn't necessarily aligned, if that makes sense. And aligned is what you need. Alignment is where you are actually focused and you are in it. You are in it to win it. So you might say, I want to be a model, but you may not be the model. There's a difference. You could be parallel. You might be like, oh, look at those folks out there on that runway, right? And it's like, I want to do that, right? Well, I'm not here to be desperate and say, yes, you're a model. You're a model. Yeah, you could be a model. No, I'm not here to do that. I will tell you straight up whether or not you could be a model or not. I know that I can't be a model unless I do some things, some big major things. But I'm not afraid to admit that I'm not a model. But I am a model for your life to know, to help you focus in where you need to be. That's the model that I'm in. It's called the role model. That's why I'm in the business. Okay. I know what modeling is. I'm not stupid. It's just that, and I've been in the industry long enough to know better. But I'm not going to say that I've walked that runway. Now, could there be a time in my life that it will happen? Sure, if it aligns with me somewhere along the way, but right now it's only paralleled. I'm only looking at it as if it's happening, but I know that if it's going to happen, it will happen. Now, some of you might look at it in another way and say, oh, there you are, you're just sitting on it. No, I'm not sitting on it. I know exactly what I'm doing. Some of you are actually speaking in egotistical terms and accepting your pride. That part you need to shrink way, way, way down. Do you hear me? Shrink that way, way, way down. Because maybe you might have been a model at one point. in your life or whatever the case may be, or you are going to be a model or that you are a model, but that doesn't mean everybody in the whole wide world is going to be the model. I'm going to tell you that up front. It's not a surprise, but that doesn't mean that you can't act and you can't sing or you can't dance or whatever. It just, and I'm not saying that you can be a model or not. It's only one. Here's what I say, and this is how I took college. For 4 years, when I was playing around with degrees in the associate degree level, I was sitting there figuring out where my weak spots were. Why? Now, there's a couple of reasons why. One is, no matter what I do, I cannot get any better at it. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you tell me 40 times, go and do it. Okay? And I'm listening. I'm sitting there with tutors and listening to the teacher, and everything that I'm doing, it does not matter. That grade doesn't change. It's not for me. I've seen that it's funny as this is, liberal arts was focused on English in a very specific way. But as funny as it sounds, when it got to semantics and all that, it was like everything was all clear and good. Now, when I type in social media back in the day, it really looked like a preschooler could have done better, because I was flat out just, I was just ugly in my handwriting. It didn't matter. That's how I took it then. It was like, I don't care what you think my writing is. That's literally how I felt. But then I'm sitting there like, well, I've studied semantics, and then, it just made me look really weird. And you talked about credibility. Boy, that was some pretty bad credibility, because I'm sitting there like writing stuff that doesn't make sense to the world to read. And then at the same time, I'm saying I'm studying English. So you see, I've actually grown up a whole lot. It wasn't until I got into Westminster Choir College at Rider University. There were certain things that I really loved. Believe me, I love listening to opera, and I could sing some of it, but there were certain scenarios where I knew I needed more assistance. And it didn't matter how many times I auditioned, it didn't matter how many times I whatever, it just, it was not aligned. But as funny as it is, I'm actually a AGMA member. That's American Guild of Music Artists. So go ahead, call them up if you want to verify the information because you think I have no credibility. That's fine. But I'm an AGMA member of the union. And I'm sitting there like randomly just picking up some of the old stuff that I rehearsed back in Westminster Choir College's time. And I was able to land some positions. I wasn't a model, but boy, I could sing. And sometimes, depending on how I'm doing it, I could really look like a model singing. Oh yeah, it don't matter how big I was. I could have been 500 pounds, but if I'm up there and I'm doing my singing, you wouldn't care if it was 500 pounds or not. There was something coming out of that mouth. Well, that's the same way with true love too. And see, this is where love energy and fear energy does not get along. I've learned the difference between forcing a relationship versus a relationship actually being meant to be. And there is a difference between someone coming in your life and going out and then coming back in or whatever. That could actually even be twin flame related, believe it or not. But the thing is that them coming in and coming out and going back in or whatever does not necessarily mean that there is an end there, because there is no actual real closure. See, the closure will happen at some point. Even now, there are some folks out there that are really bad in fear energy, that their closure is easier by just ignoring, blocking, and doing whatever they got to do to pretend that you don't exist. That you'd have to accept. I've learned to accept it. It took a minute, but I've learned to accept it. The thing about accepting that, though, in the beginning is very, very, very hard. Now, there are some karmic relationships happen when your head, usually the biggest hint is that your head's over tail and there is nothing at all that is in agreement or even close to alignment. And that you're just hoping that that person would just fit in, and it just doesn't work. What happens is eventually in that relationship, a few things happen. You start to realize where either somebody's trying to control you, or it may not even be controlling. Hello, how are you? It may not even be controlling. It could just simply be that they are trying to fit into something that you're doing, but they don't necessarily fit at all. Like, for example, if you like to dance, and I've never danced in my life, I don't know how to dance, but I just gonna go and learn how to dance just because I want to dance. To me, it doesn't make any sense unless, of course, there is that jealous streak that's telling me, well, maybe I should just go ahead. And by the way, you're going to be hearing a nice big bang here soon. Just so that you're aware. You know, when I say take the trash, leave it at the trash can, well, you're about to hear the trash go bang, bang, bang. Oh, actually, I think it already did it. No, it didn't. It's there. You're about to hear the trash go banging in the truck is what you're about to do. Wink, wink. All right. Anyway, enough of the jokes, right? No, in all seriousness, so that's one way that you actually know if you're going to be in a struggling relationship. Another way is that when someone is trying to fit in. See, normal relationships, it doesn't matter. They accept you how you are. It does. Weight and eyes and hair falling out of your head, bald, whatever, doesn't make a difference to any real person that's truly in love energy with the person. But where it gets a little bit conflicting, now I'm not talking about petty things like, well, you know, you owe me some money, or you're always asking for money, but then you don't give me none, and blah, 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 and all this stuff. No, I'm not talking about that. That's stuff that you could talk over and actually arrange, hopefully, unless there is a huge issue with Mars squaring off. It really is going to depend what's happening at that time. That's usually when a lot of arguments happen in relationships when Mars is squaring off. And it usually is with the Venus. And if Mars is squaring off in Venus on a retrograde, that is on your sun sign, that is even bad. So that's when you want to try to cool yourself down in your own language and not even want to take a chance at talking. This is the period of what we call take a break, like you want to take a break, or it's not the separation ordeal, it's just that peace that you have You can actually, a real relationship, you can literally just run the globe for 2 months straight and not have to worry about what the other person's doing. Because you're giving them the freedom to do it. It's not like I don't know how to really even explain it. It's a beautiful thing. You might have somebody, this is where it really gets bad in a relationship. Let's say I'm a business person, and then my lover could be like a dancer, a singer, and a model, right? Well, I have no obligation when I already knew who the person was to say, no, you cannot model. Why are you modeling? First of all, to me, I think that's kind of funny. But there are people out there in their relationships that will do that. And you don't know that. It's kind of like, I'm sure you hear this term a lot, like you don't know a person without living with them. Well, that's a scenario. You technically don't, but some folks, they really make it known like quickly. I've had situations where I was either in control, or I had a situation where I had a interesting situation actually, where it was like we were both in control at many times. It's just that one was being a little bit more secretive about it, while the other one was making it known, meaning me. I was making it known. Now, that aside, what I'm basically saying is that these are the hints of you knowing of if you're in a very, very bad relationship, where you know you're in a good relationship and you shouldn't have to force. In other words, it naturally happens. So if the person's coming to you, I've learned that if I have an interest on somebody, I let them come to me. I'm in a scenario right now where they have came to me, and it is what it is, but I'm taking it one step at a time because all these other things that I've already learned, and I want to make sure that the growth process has been completed on both of our ends. And I believe that's pretty much why God's got his hand in that, because a perfect relationship, God, source, whatever you believe, is going to make that work. It's the same way with modeling, okay? Let's put it into business now. All right, I'm telling you about this. But now let me tell you a little bit about business. You may know how to pack boxes, and you can work for Amazon and pack billions of boxes. But no matter what, you find one little thing, and then you could get fired. Just out of the blue, you're getting fired, right? Then you go to another job, and it's like you're getting fired. Here I am, I'm running an agency, everybody knows about it. But then I'm wondering, okay, if everybody knows about it, I'm asking God, when is it going to happen? When is it going to be aligned to the fact that people will entrust Slmta, because there are always going to be haters. So I have to work against the haters. So instead of spending time worrying about haters, I'm basically illustrating what Slmta does. Now, I will tell you that what the haters taught about does not align what we actually do. So how you know if you're in a right relationship, even with a business, is making sure that it's not being forced. And there are certain things about how you know if you're being forced. It is usually starting with manipulation. Now, it could be manipulation within the contract, or it could be manipulation in what they want the contract to sound like, but then they could twist it to something else. All right, that's one step of you knowing if you're going into a bad relationship in business. So now I'm not talking about just modeling or any of that. I'm talking about business in general. All right. I'm talking about that contract that you signed if you're working for Amazon. And you know, that's probably one of the top places where they could change things when they want, whenever they want. Well, it's the same way. There's many other companies that do that. It's basically, you have to be careful if there's any hint of manipulation. Okay. But at the same time, you have to know if who is in control is controllable. Because if they're not controllable and they want to control you, then you have no way of figuring out. You have no breathing room to figure anything out. Now that's different. That's different from being coachable. But coachable is not controllable. The difference between coaching and being in control is that coaching, you will take direction and you revive yourself with something. So if you're not really making it under the coaching, then you probably don't want to spend any more time and money for that investment. That would then be a real reason why you want to walk away, but you don't just walk away and not tell an agency why you're doing it. I'd rather you tell me, look, I'm not going to be able to handle this right now, but I would be able to do this later. Even if you're going to just shop around to figure out how you can get around not getting this, this, and this that we're asking you to do anyway. One way that we're actually allowing that to happen, and this is not forceful either, is for you to join the contest. It's the cheapest investment that you could ever find for the most exposure, and you could be the next universal model. So in all honesty, while you may be sitting there trying to figure out how you're going to get away from, like, we don't want you to be sitting there spending money on a professional photo shoot, unless you know, at this point, we don't. We had asked about it before because at one point, and this is another thing that I've learned in my business world, I have learned that I was still having a little bit of fear in my business because of people with their ideas of scams. Now I don't fear that no more. And I said, I'm going to take another approach, a new beginning, in figuring out how to do this. So now we actually have pro photographers in various states that will be able to take care of the photography, but it would be up to you to be able to go ahead and actually get that work done. But you don't have to come to an agency with a portfolio. You don't. Now, if you're a professional, if you're going to come to me as a professional, then I expect you to have it. Because you're going to have a resume, you're going to have a portfolio, you're going to have a bio. You're going to have all that because you've actually been booked. Okay. The thing is that some of us, we get into this fiasco of like, oh, it costs too much to do this or costs too much to do that. Well, now we're getting to the point where we're doing what we call live red carpet open calls. They're coming up again, starting, we're going to actually start a little bit later this year. They're starting in October this year. That doesn't mean that the virtual stuff is going to end. It's just that you're going to be seeing me in a different position when we're doing the lives. But that's the cool thing about doing lives, right? We're going to be doing open calls in Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Miami, Atlanta would be probably one of the first one. So we're going to be, and they're going to be live red carpet. In other words, we actually get the red carpets, the gold stanchions and the red ropes. And our backdrop is right there at one of the red carpets, while you also walk down the red carpet as if you're walking down a runway. Everything is done as if it's a show, basically. And everything is on set, just like what we had when we opened up in Michigan. We actually had our hair and makeup artists there. We had the DJ there. We had everything rocking and popping and doing everything that needed to be done there during that time. Whether anybody showed up or someone showed up, it did not matter. It was still happening. Okay. And believe it or not, there was no cost for it either. No, I've actually went and paid these people to be there, and they were there. And it wasn't like the big hefty buck, but we negotiated enough. Like some of the photographers, I think it was like 600 or whatever. I'm not going to go into the details, but for the most part, even the place that I've run it was like $1,000. So it wasn't that bad, and it was a big enough place to do a lot that I wanted it to do. And it was well spread out. I mean, I literally could have actually probably did this in the pandemic, but there were certain things that was not allowed. During the pandemic that Michigan was requiring related to entertainment. And then there was a time where things was actually closed anyway, like for good, and then there were times where the stores were okay to open, but there were things entertainment related that couldn't. So even if I was to say, hey, come to my office, I don't know if I could be breaking CDC guidelines, even though that I'm in the midst of a bunch of other stores. That's why I hadn't been there yet. Well, one of the major reasons. So I keep myself busy elsewhere. I'm not going to get stuck because Michigan wants to close everything down. I'm going to keep it moving. And so that's where I'm at. So what you want to do is see what you can do about getting yourself established outside of the norm, because I think that's what this pandemic is really all about. The pandemic is really to make the world, it was supposed to make the world stay at a halt, to revisit and move on from the past. But as I can see, and it's even happening governmentally as well, but we are still adopting some of the old trash. We're sitting here arguing about debt, right? Debt. Got all this debt, all this debt, all this debt. But then we're not going to forgive any of the debt. We're just going to add more debt to the debt, and then continue the debt. And then those are it's a vicious cycle. And, just like, I have some bad news, but I don't think I want to share it right now. But I have to give it to you in a slightly different way that you would normally hear this. See, July 4th is the Declaration of Independence. It's the birthday, and it's in Cancer. The problem is that let's just pretend that America is America, right? Let's just say that your birthday is on July 4th. okay, in that time period. Right now, what we are dealing with right now is Chiron that is actually stuck in the finance house. The problem is that Chiron's all about old wounds, and if you're able to heal them or what have you. Now, I'm very specific. I could even go right straight and tell you, okay, if so-and-so was born this time, so-and-so was born that time, I could tell you probably how bad that July 4th can actually be. I mean, seriously, on a scale of 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, okay? We'll put the 0 in there because that, I mean, but in short, what I'm noticing, just by God's hints in the stars, that if cancer does not heal these broken wounds, and right now it's squared off with Saturn, which is very detrimental because that's the planet of karma, okay? And for Chiron to be squaring off with karma is not a good thing. And I see a retrograde that would be coming. And with Saturn going retrograde, and then it's going to go straight through Chiron, we will be singing happy birthday. No, how do I want to say that? Let's just put it to you this way. I've been in situations where Chiron went through Saturn and the retrograde and all that, and I thought that was the best relationship in my life, but it is no longer there. God pulled it away, yanked it from me. And unfortunately, these things do happen. God has to share lessons with us, even if it means that it involves all equally. We're all going to have our own separate scenarios, but I'm talking on a ramification that when it comes to prophecy, prophecy does alert many things too, but I would be able to see some of the prophecies either by the visions that God will provide to me or even before that. Because it actually, hello, White Angel Fashion, how are you? Even before that, because God gives us signs in the stars to be able to show us how to behave. And if we're not behaving, then what do we expect and who can we blame? So that's just a little bit of something to think about as well. By the way, I am toward the end of a Slmta at night. That's what you're watching right now if you're just visiting me. It is a 3-hour interaction show. Excellent, excellent. So is this a fashion company overseas or is this an individual? So anyone that is just visiting, that's what we're doing right now. It's normally 3 hours long. It might be extended a little bit longer. But what I do is usually every night I do a 3-hour interactive show with different topics. So tonight's topic is new beginnings and how to break down the barriers. Instagram, you kind of see me in the old fashioned, which is the background of my office, home office. But on Facebook and YouTube, if you hadn't followed me yet, please follow me and subscribe on YouTube at SL Models and Talent Agency LLC. It is the gold icon with the red ring around it. You'll be able to see a lot of the live shows there. And there are many topics, everything from spiritual upliftment all the way to topics like tonight, how to establish the breaking down of barriers and starting new beginnings, and many more topics. So in any case, I'm going to continue on further. So the thing is that we are looking at right now. Oh, and by the way, for those of you that are just visiting, I almost forgot. I am going to submit under this video on Instagram the link to our online contest. So if you know anyone or if you yourself would be interested, we are doing a Spring Fling extravaganza. It is worldwide. We are also doing a Kids Showdown extravaganza, and we have an affiliate program. So if you are a company interested in spreading the word and you want to make some money while doing it, we have an affiliate program. We'll give you that link as well. So let me know if that is something that you are interested in, and I'll be glad to share it. Okay, so now we'll move on to our topic. So when you are developing new beginnings, you want to be sure that first, where were you? Where did you come from? Okay. And most of us, we probably came from a lot of garbage. Like we had to clean up the closet, so to speak, right? So now we can say, okay, where are we headed? This is the part where you're going to ask yourself, what can I do? Right? And then when you're moving forward, you're going to ask yourself, well, how can it be done? Now, if you're not able to do that, SLMTA has a way that we can help you get it done. Okay? We can establish what you want to do, but we cannot know without you, generally speaking, letting us know where you're going to be needing help at. So the big thing is the hardest part of this whole entire fiasco that I was taught about tonight is that when you're breaking down barriers, you really have to go from fear energy into love energy, because things have to align, not just parallel. Yes, you can look and say, I want to walk that runway. Yes, I want to act in that Hollywood show. But it may only be parallel. It may only be like, okay, I'm seeing it. I'm hoping that will be me. But on your road that you're traveling, that might not be the case. You might be the one creating fashions for the models. And that's what is actually aligned. And yeah, okay, you're going to actually meet models, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you could be the model, because that's not necessarily that is parallel, but it's not aligned. It's not your purpose. And a lot of people, and I'm noticing this even with agencies that claim, yeah, we're looking for new models or blah, 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 right? The thing is, and I like that. I do like that, and you should never, ever stop doing that either. Okay, I encourage you to do that. But the thing is do not be desperate about it. Some of them are literally not aligned to what it is. Okay, it may just be parallel, but hey, they might be a good fashion designer. So don't cut them out completely. They might actually be a very good actor. So that's why I always encourage think outside the box, because there's going to be all kinds of opportunity for people. I really hope that this encourages many of you tonight. I'm not, this is not on purpose to actually step on toes tonight. This is really to encourage agencies, individuals, and other businesses to look at what is happening. Some of you actually got wake-up calls. You know what I'm talking about. Wanting to unionize and all this, right? Come on now. Now it's like, okay, I'm going to go and do something better. Well, guess what? Sometimes you could do things better, but not everything is about money. If you're trying to manipulate somebody over a couple dollars to continue doing your own same garbage, then there's something wrong. I'm not afraid to sit here and say it like it is. Now I'm stepping on a couple of toes. I apologize about that. I don't have billions of dollars, but I do have a mouth that runs. I'm kidding. The point that I'm getting at is we have to know the energy that we're working on. If you're doing manipulative energy, that is still fear energy. What's the fear? It's possible that you fear that someone else is going to try to control what you did, and you don't want that. So let's say it's a business and they want to unionize. It doesn't matter if you spend $2, $3, or up it to $5. You could turn around and give them $1 million, pay them off. It's still not going to change the fact that if you're going to continue to do the same garbage that you have done beforehand, it's only going to make the test harder and harder and harder. And at some point, I hate to say this, but at some point, unionizing might actually happen. Why? Because nobody has control over God. Now, you can have control over my YouTube and my Instagram and all that, but you don't have control over God. Okay? So I want to point that out very, very clearly. So some of us that are business owners, we need to just calm it down. Oh my goodness. Man, all that negative energy for what? You know, share the love in the universe, right? That's pretty much what I'm encouraging as well. Share that love in the universe. And know that you'll be more well respected when you're being honest up front, transparent. I'm not worrying about flakes and fakes. I don't really care for that. You know, you make an appointment and don't show up. Okay. That's an X. Okay, let's keep on going. I don't have, you know, Slmta is already busy as it is. Okay. You know, I'm not going to sit there and entertain forgotten appointments. In fact, will we call? Yeah, sometimes we will actually call and or send an email reminding of an appointment coming up. But if they still don't show up or do anything, there's nothing I could do. I'm not going to babysit them. I'm not a babysitter. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, straight up to the point, I'm a facilitator. I even do that in the teaching. If a university wants me to teach a class, I'll teach a class, but I'm facilitating. I'm not going to babysit. I'm not a babysitter. I'm not going to hear the mommy and daddy saying, oh, why did you give my son a dig? Well, I don't know. I don't know what that's your concern. Your son got a dig, and well, let me see the file. Let me see what happened. Oh, okay. I know why now. Half the questions on the test were all wrong. Why don't you like ask him why he didn't answer the test right? I'm not going to be manipulated into finagling scores. You know, I'm just using that as an example. Because there are some out there, believe me, I've been through that. Do you think I'm just a college student? I'm sitting there watching what the professors are going through. The emails sometimes that goes through the email boxes and I mean, I was even part of that mess. Let me tell you, I'm sitting there emailing like, oh, like for example, like, can I get some extra credit? I need to like blah blah blah. Or I might turn around and be like, man, why is it I spoke to a tutor, I did this, I did that, and you're still sitting there like, what the heck is going on? And I will have emails that go like yay long that are probably just as bad as what the writing was in the paper that I got the bad remark on. And they just come up with this one remark just saying like, well, I'll look into it. But at that point in time, it's a month and a half into the whole fiasco and nothing had happened, right? Well, there's a difference between actually meeting with a professor and actually taught about your growth in the class and your understanding. And it's a whole nother thing to try to manipulate a grade out of something. I've learned all those things. I've either been a part of it or I have been seeing it and watching it happen. All right. So I know how I pretty much know a lot about some of these things. And so I'm going to just step it right up right now on the plate and I'm going to be transparent. If I'm teaching, whether it's a university or whatever it may be, I'm a facilitator, not a babysitter. So if the parents are going to bring kids to SLMTA for coaching, do understand that they have to be coachable. Now, if you're going to do the coaching, then you can send them home, coach them, and bring them back, and let's see what kind of work that done. But if you don't do the coaching, I'm not going to babysit, but I will do the coaching. I'm not going to sit there and play around. I don't have none of that negativity, none of that stuff is going to be able to work. So maybe when you get done coaching them yourself, or you think that you're tired of coaching and you're ready to bring them in for actual coaching, then come back and see us. But until then, I'm not going to sit there and entertain that. I'm really not. Nor am I going to sit there and entertain a conversation where you only got 20 minutes, so let's be very short and precise here, right? Believe me, there are times that I am very short and precise. Tonight, I'm not. This is an interactive show. I could go on all night if I wanted to. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to go on all night, though. All right, I'm about to end this very soon. But the point that I'm getting at is that I'm not going to turn around and have others dictate how the coaching or how the different things are going to work. That doesn't help anything. And in fact, what it does, it ruins the relationship that is meant to be. So what do we do? Well, let me explain the breakdown of the barriers. We know the process of developing new beginnings. But the way that you're going to break down the barriers, one, you have to get from fear energy to love energy. Two, you have to allow the role models the presence to coach. You cannot be in control. You have to know when to let go. All right. And then three, I'm only sharing a few. I may have to do more of this tomorrow or later today, I should say. But the third thing would actually be focusing on who you are, your presence, not anybody else's. Don't sit there and try to worry about what a business is doing. Don't worry about why the professor is doing what he's doing. Don't worry about what the person next door is doing. Worry about you and what you're going to be doing. And then go from there. And for those of you that preach, practice what you are preaching, the thing that we want to talk about in that perspective is this. Sometimes we have no control over. This is why I say be careful what you are saying. Practice what you preach is actually a very good way of expressing goodness, but it's in an odd way. But it's an encouragement of basically saying, and I'm going to just share it with you very short and easy. It basically means to be careful what you are saying or doing because people are watching. And I am well aware of what people are saying. If I turned around and kept talking about a contest going on and the contest never showed up, then I'm not practicing what I preach. I'm just sitting there preaching about what? Something that's never going to happen. Now I have it. It's happening. But I'm going to just be very honest with you. The only one, now it's your turn to put the words where your mouth is. It's one thing to actually say something, it's another thing to actually do it. You got to put it into action. So I did what I needed to do. There's still some ups and downs that I got to take care of here. But it's not stopping me from anything. It really isn't. The only thing that it will do is make it better for the next time, because I have learned how to move past all of that. So that's what I encourage you guys to do. Take these 3 steps. First of all, take the 3 steps of the new beginning, how to start a new beginning. You need to write your list, okay? Understand, I encourage you to write a list on what you can focus on versus what you can do versus what you want to do. And then write a list on the fact that what you can do, how it can be done. And then number 3, because I never shared this, but it was implied the whole time, is take action and do it. Simple as that. Take good action and do it. I encourage you to do the action. Some of you may not know if you are aligned to being a model or not. Yeah, I have models that could tell you you're not a model. That might be true, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you may not be. And that also doesn't mean that you will be. So that's why when I speak to dreamers, what I tell you is you need to get the coaching. You have to. It's the only way you're going to be able to play around with this to figure out. If after $6,500, you're not able to still get it down packed, then yeah, you probably don't want to invest any more time in it. As far as money goes, you pretty much did what you needed to do. So it's going to tell you exactly what's going to happen in the back end. But it's gonna require you to invest and to figure this thing out. But I can't keep giving free training and give my time away just to find out that nobody's going to do anything for it anyway. So now it is to the point, and this is the truth too, by the way. I have now learned that most of the scam issues that people are taught about, because I've done polls on this, it's not even about, it's not totally 100% about the money issue. It's always been about booking. And I'm here to tell you, and I'm going to be straightforward, that Community Stars doesn't guarantee bookings. But if you landing a booking while in Community Stars, then you are probably going to be a natural model. All right. If you're taking a year of Community Stars and they don't even want to look at you, even though that we're coaching you, like literally coaching you and sending you everywhere, even sending you to conventions and all that, you're going to get all that still. It doesn't matter. But it's not going to do anything if they don't, it's not us. It's just that if you're not aligned to it, there's nothing that we can really do about it. And I can't just sit there and guess, oh, abracadabra, like, okay, no, you're not aligned. I can't really do that. There are some that claim that they will sit there and say they can. I'm here to tell you, if you could think that everybody is aligned to something, then that means that what you're saying is that you're God. Because for you to figure out everybody is aligned to something is telling me that you are at every parallel part. There's just no way. There's too many roads. You have to close yourself up at that point and just let it be. I've been down that road. So I now know I actually had to be a little bit more politer about things on a professional level. And I have learned that very thing, that I am not God. I cannot stand in the middle and say, you're not aligned, you're not aligned, you're not aligned. Oh, no. It takes practice to figure out if it's going to happen. Me coaching you might be the coaching that you need for something else that you're going to be doing. It could be that you're starting a business and you just need a confidence build. All right. Well, you know what? You have spent $6,500. What's the worst case scenario? You've gotten yourself some coaching. In fact, we even got coaching on arts administration. So if you don't think that you fit as a model, you can take arts administration classes and learn how to start a modeling agency. We encourage all of it. Here at SLMTA, we have something for everyone, but you're going to have to do the coaching. There's just no way around it. I offered free this, free that, and it seems like nobody either doesn't show up anyway. So at this point, I'm not going to waste time and money. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting compensated for the time that I'm putting in. And that's just the truth around it. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to wish you all a very blessed night. Okay. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section down below, and I'll be very glad to answer them in tomorrow's recording. All right. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell at SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. That is the gold icon with the red ring around it. Oh, yes. And you will be able to find much more topics like this if this does encourage you enough. All right. And I really do look forward to working with many of you. I've seen a few of you are actually interested. I'll be sending out emails later on this morning, as it is 1:42 Eastern Standard Time AM on US time. So I'm about to shut down and have some good night's sleep. And I want to encourage you all to do the same. Have a very blessed day until then. Thank you.